Almost everyone gives the same answer to this question, and they might be right, just not for the reason you think. What was the first animal humans ever domesticated? The evidence points to dogs, but how it actually happened is where the story gets weird. Humans didn't sit down one day and decide to tame a wolf. The real story is much stranger than that. Let's set the scene. It's somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago. Humans are hunter-gatherers, living in small groups. They hunt big animals. They leave behind a lot of scraps, bones, fat, leftover meat nobody wanted. And where there's leftover food, something's gonna show up to eat it. That something was wolves. And this is where it gets tricky. Wolves are not easy to tame, not even a little. Grab a wolf pup today, raise it from birth, feed it, love it, treat it like a puppy. It will still grow up to be a wolf, full wolf instincts, full wolf danger. Scientists have tried this experiment repeatedly, and it never works the way people imagine. Wild animals with strong predator instincts don't just chill out because you're nice to them. So if humans couldn't force wolves to become friendly, how'd we end up with golden retrievers sleeping on our couches? One leading theory is that wolves began the process themselves. So picture this instead. As humans got better at hunting, camps started producing something new in the environment: garbage, bones nobody picked clean, scraps tossed aside, food waste piling up near every camp. For a scavenger like a wolf, that's basically a free buffet showing up out of nowhere. Some wolves started hanging around the edges of these camps, waiting for scraps. But here's the key detail: not every wolf did this. The aggressive ones, the dominant ones, stayed far away from humans. Too risky, too much competition. But the calmer wolves, the ones slightly less scared of fire and noise and people, they started sneaking closer. And those calmer wolves got fed. Generation after generation, something strange started happening. The wolves who felt comfortable near humans survived better. They ate more. They had more pups. The wolves who stayed skittish and aggressive struggled to compete for that easy food. Nature was quietly picking a side. And it wasn't picking the toughest wolves, it was picking the chillest ones. This process is called self-domestication. It happened without any human plan behind it. Nobody bred these wolves on purpose, nobody trained them. Evolution just kept rewarding calm behavior around humans, generation after generation, until eventually those wolves looked and acted noticeably different from their wild cousins. But there's one more piece to this, and it's backed by one of the strangest science experiments of the 20th century. In the 1950s, a Russian scientist named Dmitry Belyaev wanted to understand exactly how domestication worked, so he ran an experiment on silver foxes. He picked out the calmest foxes in each generation, the ones least afraid of humans, and bred only those. That's it. That was the only trait he selected for calmness. Within a few generations, something wild happened. The foxes didn't just get friendlier, their bodies started physically changing. Their ears went floppy, their tails started to curl, patches of white fur showed up on their coats, their faces got rounder, softer, more puppy-like. Nobody selected for any of that. Belyaev only picked for tameness, and all these bonus changes came along for the ride, completely on their own. The experiment didn't recreate dog domestication exactly, but it showed just how powerful selection for behavior can be, all on its own, without anyone touching the animal's looks directly. So the wolves changed, but humans changed too, and that's the part most people skip over completely. Maybe humans tolerated the calmer animals hanging around camp instead of chasing them off. Maybe those animals turned out to be useful, barking at danger, helping track prey. We don't know exactly which step came first, but at some point, the relationship flipped from tolerance into partnership. Now there was a real incentive to keep the friendly ones around, feed them a little extra, let them sleep near camp. That's when things really took off. The wolves who liked humans did better living near humans. The humans who kept wolves around did better surviving in the wild. Both sides benefited, and neither side planned it that way. Now here's a twist that changes how you think about dogs entirely. Domesticated dogs are not just tame wolves. Their brains actually work differently. Point at something, and a dog will look exactly where you're pointing. A wolf won't. Even a wolf raised by humans from birth. That ability appears to have become deeply built into dogs through generations of living alongside people. Dogs also make eye contact with humans in a way wolves never do. In wolf society, staring someone down is a threat. It's a challenge before a fight. But dogs evolved to hold your gaze on purpose, looking to you for guidance, for connection. Studies show dog eye contact releases oxytocin in both of you, the same bonding hormone shared between a mother and her baby. There's one more piece to this worth knowing. More than 14,000 years ago, humans were already burying dogs alongside their dead. One famous burial site, found in what is now Germany, placed a dog carefully beside two human bodies, not tossed aside like food, placed with intention, thousands of years before anyone wrote a single word down. Think about that for a second. Long before writing, before farming, before most of what we call civilization, someone grieved a dog enough to bury it like family. So why does all of this matter? Because dogs weren't just our first domesticated animal, they may also have given some human groups a genuine survival advantage. Dogs could smell danger before humans could see it, they helped track prey across long distances, they acted like a built-in alarm system for approaching predators or rival tribes. Some researchers argue that groups with dogs had a real edge over groups without them, which means dogs may have quietly influenced the direction of human history itself. Later domestication of animals like goats, sheep, cattle, and horses followed very different pressures: food, labor, transport, eventually, farming. Humans intentionally captured and bred those animals for specific purposes. Dogs followed a remarkably different path. They walked into the story on their own, they sat down by the fire, and slowly, they turned themselves into part of the family. Every dog alive today, from the tiniest Chihuahua to the biggest Great Dane, carries a piece of that original choice. A wild animal, thousands of generations ago, decided the fire was worth the risk. So next time your dog goes absolutely nuts because you grabbed your keys, or falls asleep with its head resting on your feet, remember what you're actually looking at. You're not looking at a pet you picked out, you're looking at the living result of a wild animal that chose, generation after generation, to move a little closer to the fire, until closer became family. If this changed how you look at your own dog, wait until you hear which animal humans tried to domesticate next and completely failed, because not every attempt worked out this well. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and drop a comment. Do you think your dog picked you, or did you pick your dog?